In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up and configure VLOOKUP. The first thing you need to do is head to the VLOOKUP board view. There are two main features in VLOOKUP. The first functionality is automation templates. Basically, you can create a recipe and link one item to another board by choosing selected columns to match into the target board. The other option is sync items to multiple boards, where you copy an item and duplicate it into another board. In this mode, the entire set of columns will be copied. So, while the automation template only syncs selected columns, the sync item feature duplicates the entire item into the target board. For now, I'm going to show you the automation templates. You can have a one-way connection, meaning when you make a change in the source board, it will update in the target board. However, if you update columns in the target board, it won't update the source board. There is also a two-way connection. With this, when you update a column in the source board, it updates the target. And if you update the target, it also updates the source. In this example, I'm going to show you a one-way connection. We have our contacts here, and I'm going to show you how to connect them to a campaign. You can connect board items to sub-items or vice versa, but in this example, I'm going to show you just the main items. We need to select a matching value. This must be unique, as duplicates can create problems and prevent VLOOKUP from triggering. Here, I'm going to use item name and match it to requested by. Next, I'm going to link the phone numbers and the email. One thing to note is that at the moment, you are not able to link a mirror column. Here is where you can add conditions. I only want this to trigger if the priority is high. This is a status column. So if the priority is not set to high, VLOOKUP won't trigger. Now, let's explain the triggers. These are basically webhooks that trigger VLOOKUP. For example, link value changes means every time you change the columns in the source board, it will trigger VLOOKUP. You can install it in the source board or the target board. You only need to install it in the target board when you use a two-way connection. Since we aren't using a two-way connection, we don't need that here. When an item value changes is a legacy option from the first version of VLOOKUP, and is mainly useful when using formulas. When an item is created, triggers VLOOKUP every time you create an item if there is a matching value in the target board. In this case, I would like to enable it, so when I create an item in the target board that matches the source, it triggers as well. When an item is moved, triggers when an item is moved from one group to another. The other options are disabled because they are only available when you use sub-items. Once you're ready, simply click Save. Now the recipe is created. If you go to the Automation tab, you'll see several VLOOKUP automations installed on this board. Now, I would like to create a new item to test this. I will create a customer in the target board with the matching value Emmanuel. One of the conditions was that the priority must be high. As you can see, VLOOKUP didn't trigger the email or phone yet because it doesn't meet the conditions.
I will now set the priority to high. Now we need to update the phone number and email values so VLOOKUP detects and populates them. Now that it is set to high, it meets the condition and the values update. As you can see, the phone and email have been populated. Now I want to show you the other functionality, which is sync item to multiple boards. This is a bit different from the first one we just created. Let's say I want to create a completely new item that doesn't exist in my contacts board yet. I'll create this new item here and add some data. To sync this, select the item, go to Apps, and choose Sync Item to Multiple Boards. Simply select the Contacts board, which is our target board. I want the item to be copied along with specific columns like the priority, phone, and email. You also have options to include sub-items in the sync or to delete the connection later. You can also choose if you want the item to be deleted from the other board if the connection is removed. For now, we won't do that. Simply click Save and Copy. Now the item has been created. You can check Manage Sync Items to see what has been synced.
You can see Jonas Marathon has been synced to the contacts board. If I go to the contacts board, I have that person, Jonas, listed there, and the information has been synced. This feature syncs this specific item level, not just columns based on a match. If I change the priority here from high to low and update it, the change reflects in the other board. I also have the option to delete this connection. If I delete the connection, the item stays in the target board.
Thank you for watching, and if you need any help setting up VLOOKUP, don't forget to reach out to us.